Alright, Shalom. And we give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And double honor to our elders and apostles to Har all the way down. Peace, blessings to all you brothers on this work, and truth and sincerity, and Shalom to the elect. Alright, so this is Samak coming to you with another lesson in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai in transit. I'm on my way to the job right now, and the spirit how it told me to share some words, exhortation, if you will, however the spirit flow, Lord willing, brothers to edify. You take from this whatever you take. But the point and the topic of the video, man, is really not getting caught up, in the glory of this world. I know it's easy to sometimes catch a glimpse of hope, if you will, in this world. And when I say that, I mean in the pleasures of this world, in terms of possessions, status. You may have had aspirations and ambitions, in the world prior to coming to this truth, and coming and doing the work of the Lord, it put that ambition, on the back burner, which is rightfully so. And you may have, given up on a lot of things, just because, the spirit wasn't really with you anymore to do that. Your spirit was more so focused on, pleasing Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and learning the scriptures and getting right with the Lord, right? And that's how it should be. But with that being said, if you still have, some type of, desire to, better your situation, whether, it's financially, physically, mentally, whatever it is, that just because you do the work and you serve the Lord doesn't mean that has to come to a complete end. It's just not your main focus anymore. You fit that into your schedule, you balance that out in your life, however you do, and you continue to do the work of the Lord and please the Lord. You have to remember, when you please the Lord, or as the scriptures say, when a man's ways please the Lord, right, he make it even his enemies be at peace with you. And it's even in the book of Joshua as well, it says when you meditate on his word, the Most High will make your ways prosperous. He'll bless your hands. So don't think that because you do this work, you're just automatically subject to having a bare minimum. No. Some brothers have a little bit more, some brothers have a little less. Everybody's life is different. Some brothers don't really have a mentality where they don't have the means to have more, in order to have the mentality to even try to get more, and that's okay. Like I said, every brother their own lot, every brother their own measure. But if you're somebody who you have the measures, you have the means, you can have the balance to factor it in, by all means. But really the point is, don't allow the world to try to suck you into that mentality of thinking yo, man, I could be somebody. Yo, if I really wanted to, man, I could do it. You're going to have people in this world that are going to try to bring your spirit down to their level. They're going to try to bring your spirit to, and when I say down, they're going to try to bring your spirit down to their earthly thinking that you have to be successful in this world to their standard. All right, you have to be making a certain amount of money. You have to be driving a certain kind of car. You have to have a certain type of style and do a certain type of things in order to be deemed somebody or successful. That's bullshit. Do what you do for you, man. At the end of the day, we're prisoners of hope, and we hope in the kingdom of heaven, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And that's our number one goal. All right, that's our number one aspiration, is the kingdom of heaven. So everything we do is going to be centered around that desire. But we also live in the present, right? Because that hope is in the future. But we also live in the present, so we look okay, how can I make my present situation as contentful as possible, to the point where, I have my daily bread. Because at the end of the day, you also got to remember this too. You also have to put forth your hand to work. The Most High is not just going to feed you and you just sitting on your ass all day, a lot of the elders go into it. Brothers that are in this fold, man, need to work. All right, you got to have a job, right? And if you have the opportunity to get a job that's substantial, that'll be able to pay your bills, go for it, man. Why settle for, fast food joint, minimum wage? It's all about the mentality, man, and the spirit in which you do things. You have to be mature enough to realize that you can serve the Lord and you can do good to thyself. Like the brother Yochanan always say, he always say, you gotta, to really be in this truth, man, you gotta go hard in both the spirit and in the flesh. Right? And on face value, you'll look at that, you'll think somebody who's not really spiritual or lacks understanding will think of that and be like, oh, you can't please the flesh, you're going off. That's double-minded. No, it's not, because everything that happens in the flesh starts in the spirit. Right? The flesh and the spirit contend with each other because the flesh has its own glory and the spirit has another, right? But if you have rule over your spirit, right, if you control your flesh, if you overcome the temptations and desires of the flesh, anything you do in the flesh is what? Is guided and influenced by your spirit. So a mature man or sister of understanding and wisdom will make decisions for the flesh because you're in your flesh. You can't deny your flesh. Not literally. You could deny your flesh in a spiritual sense, meaning you deny the pleasures thereof that don't pertain to the spirit. Things that are adverse to the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Whether that's if it's lust, if it's feeding too much into lust, because you're going to feel lust, right? That's one thing that's natural. So for a lot of younger brothers, if you notice you're going through a lustful spirit, or your flesh is going through lust, don't deny it or ignore it. You know what I mean? Overcome it. Realize that having lust is a natural thing for the flesh, right? Because you're a man. You're attracted to women. You see a beautiful woman. Nowadays, women are out here haughty, dressing provocative, and you can't control how you feel. Right? You attracted to the woman, you're attracted to the woman. All right, but it's about the mentality and intent that you have behind that. So you see it, you acknowledge it. Okay, damn, she look good. Leave it at that. Don't be in the spirit of, you know what I mean? Or try to avoid that spirit as much as possible. That's controlling the lust, right? That's all about, it starts in the spirit. Right. Another part of denying the flesh is if you know there's things that, if you have a specific goal in mind, right? So some brothers are into fitness, right, and health. If you have a specific goal in mind, then part of denying that flesh is what? If you know that eating sugar and cookies and cakes, it doesn't fit within your goals to getting, in the shape that you want to be in, hey, that's part of denying that flesh. Overcome and say, you know what? I acknowledge that I like cookies and, cakes and all that, and it's really not good for the body. But, if you have it every so often, it's not that bad. But right now, I don't need it. That's not what we're doing. And then you move on. That's overcoming the flesh. And then when you go ahead and you eat a healthy snack, some fruit, maybe a snack that's made out of like different, honey and oats and different things like that, that's got only a couple ingredients, and you eat something like that instead, that's you going hard in the flesh and in the spirit, right? Because you're going hard in the physical things. That's basically what that means. When you go to work, you go hard at work, right? Because everything you do is a direct reflection of yourself. The scripture says, everything you do it as unto the Lord, man. So, basically don't get caught up in this world. Don't get caught up in the philosophy of this world, thinking that you got to be on a certain kind of level, man, which you don't. Be on the level that you're going to be content with, something that you're going to be in that Proverbs spirit where Solomon said, give me neither poverty nor riches, but feed me with food convenient for me. Lest I be full and I take the Lord, and I forget the Lord. You forget the Lord, think you don't need him because you made it six figures and, you know, $500,000, whatever the case is, and you got all the cars and clothes and all these different things, and you think, I'm good, man, I don't need the Lord. I'm cool here in Babylon. No. Or on the opposite side of that, you know, you're so poor and you're struggling so bad that you start plotting the, you know, the various plots. You start thinking about, damn, man, I know that's that gas station, man. I know every day at like 12 a.m. they do a big cash drop. And it's an easy lick. It's only one dude in there. All I gotta do is run up in that joint, masked up. You know what I mean? My man got a gun. You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing that you don't wanna be in that spirit either. Right? Solomon said, "Lest I be hungered, and I take the Lord's name in vain, and I steal and rob." So you gotta make sure you have a balance in the truth. You want to be in that perfect balanced position to where you're not stressing about money and bills and stuff like that, so you make enough money to be able to handle your responsibilities, you know what I mean, feed your family, have a couple of dollars in your pocket for shit go wrong. But you also don't want to be too up to the point where you're like, damn, man, I'm good, I don't need the Lord. Now you're overindulging in those things that you have. All right. So remember, stay in that mentality, stay in that spiritual mindset, man, and you'll be all right. So Lord willing, this video was edifying. Until next time, brothers and sisters, shalom.